Let's move on, Dave. The other one okay. Eric said that this was, when we're talking Lowry Markkanen, Eric mentioned that it's kind of like John Collins. I said I was going to start with this. To me, the John Collins no extension has nothing to do, or it's not even comparable to Lowry Markkanen. Here's why. The Lowry Markkanen no extension is, we're not going to give you an extension. You have to earn your deal right now. Earn it this year. The John Collins deal is telling me, we don't want to extend you. We're going to trade you this year. We'll let another team extend you. That's what it's telling me. Because like you brought up before the show, Dave, if they would have extended him now, there would have been a period where they could not trade him, which would have probably overlapped with that March 21st deadline with how the season scheduling this year. So for me, that's why I think they're different. Bulls, play for your contract. Hawks, no, we're looking to deal you because we want to make this team better and bring in a piece that is going to help us.
Yeah, I mean, like Olajuwon, you're correct. He has been getting better year over year. Like John Collins, for someone who came in with a limited defensive game, he's worked harder to get better at it. His shot is great. Offensively, he's excellent. Defensively, he's trying to be less of a negative. That's all you can ask for, is just be less negative on that end of the court. He's absolutely worth a big deal. Like the deal that Christian Wood got, I mean, he deserves more than Christian Wood. Christian Wood had, 25 good games. So I think it just comes down to the fact that, hey, we're looking for the talent, or the money, I should say. They're looking for the money to be spent at a different position. And that's all it is. Like John Collins, there are other teams around the league who would love to have someone who is as good as John Collins. Yep. The question is, what do the Hawks think his value is? Because he is going to be an in-demand young star who can put up 20 and 10 any given night. Like, he's a walking double-double. And great offensive player. He could be your number 2, could be your number 3 even, and have good efficiency out there. So, like, this, I'm with you. This was not a basketball decision. This was a contract, team, whatever strategy, bullshit kind of a deal.
So the thing I want to ask you is, because Spot Rack, what they have isn't necessarily where the player's going to play. It could just be the position he's listed. Are you playing Danilo at the 4?
Yeah, he can't defend threes.
Okay, I'm just asking. Like, I wanted to make sure before I say something that it's they
can play him at the 3, and then they're going to get torched at the 3 and the 4. Like, the Hawks can do whatever they want with their lineup. So, yes, Danilo has been playing 4 primarily in the last couple of years, but in theory, sure, he could play the 3.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you answered it that way, because for me, it's like, I had a feeling about this draft night that the Hawks were going to move Collins, because, like Eric brings up, John Collins didn't get an extension because they signed Gallinari. Yeah, they have Gallinari, but they also drafted Onyeka Okongwu. And you kind of, I can't remember if this was on the show or off the show, Dave. You kind of asked me Onyeka, is he going to be a 4 or a 5? Our biggest thing, and yet again, it depends on if he yokes up, hits the weight room, and builds some muscle. The only way he's playing the 5 is if he bulks up and gets stronger. Because
fine. He's 19 years old.
Yeah.
Like, I think everybody can be outside of Zion Williamson has been told they need to add weight and mass.
Yeah. Like right now, he's playing the 4, which means you have a logjam at 4. You're going to want Onyeka to get minutes off the bench. You have Gallinari out there at the 4. John Collins, to me, like, you want to bring someone else in. I would say you'd want to bring, like, package a John Collins and a Kevin Huerter to bring in a star that maybe is going to play the 2 for you, or the 3. Basically a wing.
Just drop the name so we can have that conversation.
What, James Harden? Is that who you wanted me to say?
Yeah, I know you got the trade worked up, so let's hear it.
I don't have a trade work up, actually. What? Do you want me to? Yeah, I can work one up for you.
Without a doubt. I was like, man, and leading this conversation, John Collins is
No, I wasn't.
James Harden. Like,
is Harden the first? I'll ask this: is Harden the first sure guy that they need to get? Like, or is there another one?
Okay.
Or is there Buddy Hield is another one? Do they need to?
You can't get Buddy Hield. They have Bogdanovich. What are you trying to do? Start a fight here?
That's right. They did just come from the same teams.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that.
Man, but fucking Young and Healed would be the all like defense. They got Rondo for defense. They got Rondo and Hunter for defense. They don't need Heal and Chris Dunn, baby, the real KD for defense. Like, but that's the thing. Like, I didn't throw out Harden only because it's like, are there other players that John Collins, and honestly, like, would the Rockets want to trade for John Collins because they brought in Christian Wood?
That's the problem. Like,
or would it be a 3-team deal?
They went relatively young is Christian Wood that they have hopes for the future. So it doesn't line up perfectly, and that turns into like, okay, does this make it into a 3-team deal? Like, it just gets more convoluted as you go. But you do see that it's kind of lining up. I almost wonder. I mean, do we go over to the DeMar DeRozan? Do we shuffle the embers of that conversation where we thought DeRozan to the Hawks was something that was interest? There was interest on both sides. I think that one would be very interesting to see. Obviously, Harden's a better player, duh. But DeRozan might be who they can get. So I don't know if I would trade a very young John Collins for a end of his prime DeMar DeRozan. He did just come off his best true shooting year, though he is playing extremely good basketball. But there's only a couple years left of that. So,
all right, you've got the wheels turning, Dave.
All right, cool.
I'm coming up with a 3-team deal. So that's the thing I'm working on right now. I will throw this out so you and Twitch chat can kind of talk about it. It will be a 3-team deal between the Rockets, Hawks, and Kings.
Oh, okay. Rockets, Hawks, and Kings. I don't know where that's going. I don't know how the Kings are involved here. We'll find out.
Well, but that's the thing. Does a third team need to be involved for John Collins? That's the thing.
Yeah, they do. A third team does need to be involved. I was trying to find a team who needs a 4, and I think the Kings have several of them. But we'll see where you end up with this one. I'm curious to see. But you were saying about them, having a log jam at the 4. I think that, John Collins is a backup 5, or as your Onyeka Okongwu being your backup 5 is likely what's going to happen. Like, Collins, we've seen play small ball 5 for them, and it worked out to varying degrees of success. But like, I would love to see that together before I make a decision. Like, how's Onyeka play at the 5 with Collins, or 4-5 tandem those guys with Gallo? Like, let's see what happens, because Clint Capella, like, I think he's just kind of forgotten about aftermath from this whole thing. He's still under contract for a couple of years. I mean, I don't think anybody's super attached to him, but like, he's not a bad player. He's one of the best pick and rollers in the NBA. Like, should we be more? Should we weigh that more onto everything? But I don't know.
I mean, the thing I'm running into a problem here, though, and this is the main problem of the James Harden deal. If you want James Harden, is he's $41 million. Wait, I may have. I think I may have worked something out. Wait a second.
What team needs a power forward? I'm playing that game.
Let's see. I'm just gonna turn off
Which team needs a power?
I'm gonna turn off like the recently signed shit because
Minnesota
this trade would obviously be done.
Minnesota does have a lot of pieces on their team. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. The problem is they don't have like a good vet. Like, that's the problem, is you try to find like, okay, we got a power forward with John Collins who has great value in the league. Is there a vet who fits the Hawks better that's close to equal value? Boston would love to have someone like John Collins, but they don't have any vets who they would be willing to trade for him. I don't think the Nets have capital to do that.
Has Tony Snell not taken his player option?
I haven't heard Tony Snell's name in a while. I'll be honest. I don't know what his contract is.
I have a deal here kind of worked out.
Okay.
So there's one thing where it says, I got to remove 1.5 from the Rockets, where we can send him to the Kings. They're not getting a lot of fucking contract in this.
I mean, the Pacers would be interesting if you think that John Collins play next to DeMontis Sabonis.
I thought about them with Miles Turner.
Yeah, you got the Miles Turner Sabonis issue, and then you got Victor Oladipo, who could be returned to you. Like, Vic next to Trae Young would actually be insanely good if you could find a way to make that work. Like, there's a handful of these teams but there's not many who situation might have a lineup. Clippers would love to have him, but they got no one they can trade for him because they did just Forrest and Kennard. The value, they'd have to give up, what, Lou Will and Pat Bev, and they have no point guards then? Like, they got nothing. I mean, it's a good thought, but...
Throw picks where you want.
Okay,
picks are wherever they go. Hawks get James Harden. That's all they get. They get James Harden. The Kings are going to get John Collins and... Who would I even throw in here? No. It's not showing the full name. It's just some Rockets player that...
Some Rockets player.
I'm pulling up. Oh, Caboclo. Bruno.
Oh, Bruno. Okay.
Didn't recognize the face. So they get Bruno and John Collins, the Kings get. Rockets get Buddy Hield. So basically it revolves around Hield to the Rockets, Harden to the Hawks, Collins to the Kings, because we talked in our mock draft about the Kings. We both had them going with a 4. Spoiler. Won't tell you.
Well, did we really both have them with a 4?
Yeah, we did.
What did I get?
We did.
I don't want to say
because Bagley's the only one. We talked about Bagley.
It could be a 3. No, he could be a 3.
Okay. I was thinking more of a 4. That's why, because Bagley's the only one that'll be under contract after this year, so they'll have Collins give an extension to. But the Rockets get Buddy Hield, Tony Snell, and then DeAndre Hunter in the deal. So the Hawks have to give up John Collins, Snell, and Hunter to get Harden, and the Rockets will get Buddy Hield while giving up Bruno Caboclo and Harden.
I mean, yeah, you'd have to throw in a lot of fucking picks every which way, but yeah, I think that
I thought about Cleveland though too, because would Cleveland want to send not move on from Sexton? I was thinking K-Love. K-Love goes to Houston. Harden goes to the Hawks. Collins goes to the Cavs. You bounce Wood between the 4 and the 5, and you could run lineups of like K-Love out there with Boogie, but also like Wood when Boogie leaves after this year. You can then take Wood, bounce him to the 5, and he could be your 5.
I don't like that either.
I didn't like it either. That's why I didn't go with it.
We'll have to give on a deeper thought for another day, I think, as the James Harden saga continues. But at the end of the day, I think we're both on the same page as far as John Collins was not re-signed because the plan is to trade him. If they re-signed him, you couldn't trade him in time. This keeps the market open, but it does keep him on a rookie deal, which is interesting for a lot of teams out there. So it could mean some potential for potential moves out there could happen.
Is he an RFA at the end of the year?
Yes, he should be.
Okay,
because he's on a rookie deal. So.
Is there so basically because they own his rights, any team that offers him, they could match and go over the cap, right?
Yeah, once they're traded to him, yeah. Oh, you mean if they don't trade him?
If they don't trade him, could they wait for another team to offer and then basically like we're matching but go over the cap to do that?
You are correct. They absolutely can.
But if they did that, then would a team be more inclined to basically say, okay, I'll trade for him because then he will for sure be more than 1 year?
Well, there's that, but also, yeah, I think so. Okay. I mean, the problem is though, if they don't trade him and they end up having to re-sign him, I think there's a team who might throw a max at him.
Good point. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, and that would force Atlanta to eat a max contract, which I don't know if they want to do on him or not. He might be worth a max.
If they wanted to eat a max on him, he would have gotten a max. That's how I feel.
That's my thoughts. That's exactly how I'm like, if they want to do it, they might have done it already.
And they wouldn't have drafted Onyeka Okongwu. That's also another thing I look at. They wouldn't have added another big to that rotation if they were for sure on Collins.